If you're running Google Ads and you're really struggling to convert the leads that you're getting into actual sales, I'm going to be talking about what you need to know about the sales lead follow-up process in order to convert those leads into sales. Because I have been running Google Ads for over 10 years, and I'll tell you that 95% of the issues that I face with clients actually doesn't have to do anything within the Google Ads platform. It's more of issues outside of the platform in regards to following up and even taking these leads. If you've been watching my videos for a while, then you know how I feel around the biggest mistake that is made with Google Ads is not really mistakes within the Google Ads platform, but it's happening outside when the leads are being funneled to clients, but then they're not actually following up. So I'm dedicating this entire video to just the best follow-up practices. And I'm actually pulling this article from WordStream. All of the credit here goes to WordStream for this. So big shout out to them on this. And I'm going to just take you through some of these best practices and dial in on the most important things you need to know, because Google Ads in itself is just a traffic driver. It's going to get people that are interested in the product or service that you have to offer, drive the traffic to your website or landing page, and the goal of your website or landing page is to get the user to call you or submit a form. And then after that, the next step in the funnel is for you or your sales team to then follow up with the lead and continue to nurture them until they've actually closed. Now, the nurture period can take anywhere from 5 minutes to or less to 90 days, sometimes a year. It really just depends. But it's really important to know your industry and how it works with the delay when it comes to people actually coming in and being interested to then selling a product or service. And typically when we're dealing with more high ticket services, the lead way and lead period is going to be much longer than something that's a very quick impulsive buy. But usually we don't see that a lot with lead gen. Usually with lead gen though, if we're more a local service-based business like a locksmith or offering home services, those type of things don't take that long to make a decision with B2B, but B2C. But when we're dealing with B2B and we're selling multi-million-dollar software, that's going to take lots of different decision makers, and it's going to require a lot of different touch points. So you need to really understand how important it is in regards to following up. Something interesting here is there's a stat from Marketing Donut that says that 80% of sales leads require 5 follow-ups. Let me ask you this. How many times do you typically follow up with a lead before you let it just go by the wayside? Is it 5? If it's not, then there's definitely something that can be done to improve, which is follow up at least 5 times. But only 8% of salespeople actually follow up this many times. So that means 92% of salespeople don't even hit this minimum threshold in order to, see any level of success. And this infographic here shows here 44% of people stop following up after 1 rejection and so forth. So most people, like half of the people that responded to this survey, they stop following up after 1 rejection. Now I'm wondering what they mean by rejection. Is it a rejection where someone says like, no, they're not interested? Or is it someone that may not have even answered their phone? My guess is it's probably someone that didn't answer their phone or email. But yeah, I'd be curious, because if someone says no, they're not interested, the likelihood that they're going to convert if you keep reaching out to them is going to be very low, because they're probably just going to get annoyed at that point. But if you just have made many attempts or just made 1 attempt to get in touch with someone and then just leave it at that, then the likelihood of you converting them is just extremely, extremely low. So yeah, 5 times might sound like a lot, but maybe try to bake that into your systems here. If you approach your leads in the right manner, you should be able to communicate, with the right messaging and the right channels that allows you to stay at top of mind. And WordStream does a great job at laying out the different tips on best follow-up practices. So here we're going to start with segmenting your leads and then move down to the eighth one, which is learn when to abandon lost causes. So segment your leads. So each lead that comes in will require a different level of messaging, and you will be able to see what type of interest your lead is based off of how they fill out a form or based off of your conversation with them. If you spoke with them once and they express a lot of interest, but as time goes by and you haven't heard from them, or they're telling you to call you back and they're just trying to push the timeline even more, then they become more of a cold lead than a hot lead. But here is how the funnel works. It starts here. They usually come in, they're interested, they submit the form, and then they're more warm. But then for you to then determine whether they are, more cold, warm, or hot, you'll have to have a conversation with them just to see. And then you can score them anywhere from 0 to 100 based off of what you know about them and the touch points that you've had with them. And if you have a CRM, then great. Definitely leverage your CRM and score each lead so that you can start keeping track and keeping score on the quality of them. And then eventually, once you get enough leads, you can use Google's offline conversion tracking to feed the quality hot leads back into Google and tell Google, hey, I want more of these quality hot leads. Stop giving me these cold warm leads. I want more of these hot ones. But you're going to have to score all your leads and let Google learn which ones are hot based off of the different demographics data and different inputs that's within Google, so that it can start looking for people that are similar. So that's that for segmenting your leads. A second, so important. I wish I could spend an hour talking about this topic, but I hate talking about it almost because I feel like it's something that's so obvious, but then when I talk about it, it's almost like I don't want to offend anyone by saying, hey, you should be following up in a timely fashion. It seems so obvious, but yet this is the number one reason why I see clients fail with turning leads into customers, because they're not following up in a timely fashion. I actually see here that WordStream is recommending to arrange for a thank you or welcome email or a phone call to be made within 12 to 24 hours after a lead comes in. I like to say within 15 minutes of a lead coming in, or even sooner. If you can have it within 5 minutes, that's amazing, because what's going to happen is these leads are going to be shopping around to different other competitors, and the sooner that you get back to them, the better, because as time goes on, 12 to 24 hours, they may have already forgotten that they filled out your form. So how do you stay on top of mind? You need something quick and a quick contact. So whether it's a phone call right after acknowledging that you got it and you want to know how you could help them, I would say phone call is going to be your best bet. But again, it really depends on the type of service or service that you have to offer. But I would definitely recommend it much sooner than the 12 to 24 hours. Offer to answer any questions that these users or leads might have to really demonstrate that you care and that you have better customer service than the competitors that they may also be considering. And I can't tell you too how many times when I get leads come in, I just call them back right away and they're like, wow, that was really fast. And I was like, yeah, I don't waste time. If you're serious, I'm serious, then this could be something that we could move quickly on together, because this is something that I know that probably might be requiring you to want to go do some more due diligence. And I want to make sure that I show you that I'm going to be here to be able to take your take you seriously and offer you great service. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be responding within 5 minutes every time if you are a paying client, but I try to get back to leads as quickly as possible personally. And I know not every business has those resources to do so, but I cannot drill in my clients' brains and everyone's brains that have considered lead gen enough times that following up as quickly as possible is so crucial. I had a client reach out to me today, actually, and it kind of sparked the topic for this video. And she was pretty much asking me, how long does it take for a lead to get cold? And I pretty much told her, if you're going to be waiting more than 24 hours, you're pretty much going to be kissing that lead goodbye. Because 24 hours is a long time, and there's probably going to be competitors that have a quicker follow-up process. Now, if there's competitors that are not quick to follow up and you're the quickest one in your industry, it definitely puts you in the advantage. But you need to have great systems to follow up with these leads as quickly as possible. Now, let's move on to the third, nurture leads with useful content. There's a lot of different tools out there that you can use to create automations that when these leads come through, then you can add them to some type of email nurture. I know a lot of CRMs will have nurtures. There's HubSpot, Pardo, Salesforce. These are the big name ones. There's also Go High Level, where you can essentially have all your leads in one place and time it so that when leads come in, maybe after a day, maybe after 2 days, there's some type of welcome sequence that welcomes them into your universe and continues to warm them up and nurture them, even before this, maybe after the sales conversation was had, or maybe even after the sales conversation took place. But we need to make sure that we have something to nurture these leads so that at least if you spoke with them and they might not be a good fit at this time, at least if they stay on your list and you have some type of automated sequence that goes out, that at least they can stay on top of mind and know that you are the go-to solution for the specific service that you have to offer. Number 4, personalize your communication. It's a great idea to personalize communication, mention their first name in your emails. It makes it seem a lot more personal. I know it might not actually look like someone took the time to write out this long email, but definitely personalizing it is going to be important. I mean, I remember even with cold emails, when I get stuff like hello ma'am, or I sometimes even get hello sir, and that's the biggest blunder, because they didn't actually do research to see that I'm a woman. And they're just saying hello sir, and I'm like, okay, well, that's just going to be added to junk and spam because you didn't do your research, or you didn't take the time to even figure out my name. Nowadays, I don't pay much attention to cold email. I don't recommend you do cold email. I mean, the fact that this person came to you and they are a lead, then that's not a cold email, because they came inbound and now you're just trying to nurture them. And depending on the service that you have to offer them, it could take a really, really long time. You need to understand the typical sales cycle of the product or service that you have and use that to set your reality. And then next here, use various communication channels. I love good old-fashioned phone calls. Personally, it really depends on the type of industry that you're in, but I think I can't see any reason why phone calls wouldn't be a good option. Maybe some people might think it might be a little too invasive. And I guess it depends on who you're selling to. I mean, if you are selling to some ad executives that are always in meetings, that's hard to get on a phone call. Maybe it's about, scheduling a call instead of actually like doing something impromptu. Email always is a great channel for a touch point, but I'm very embarrassed to admit, even myself, I've got 35,000 unread emails. And I admitted that to one of my clients today, and I was like, well, imagine if I've got 35,000 unread emails, I can't imagine what some other people have in their inboxes that are just cluttered with lots of junk, sales promos, and all these different things. So email is a very great place to get in touch with people, but it's also a place that can be filled with a lot of clutter. So to break through that noise can be challenging, and that's where I see a lot of companies fail with the follow-up because they only want to do email. Or they just make one phone call once and then they leave a voicemail and that's it. No, you've got to keep trying multiple methods. Email, phone number, phone, call, and text message. I actually love texting. The only challenge with texting is you need to get the user's permission to opt into communication from your company before you can text out to them. So sending text messages is a really great way to communicate with people. It's a more intimate way of communicating. However, I will say that one of the things that might be a little bit off-putting, for some people, especially if it's like B2C, is if they're getting a lot of consistent text messages from you. Like I've signed up to like some specific texting email clubs just so that I can get like 10 or 25% off certain things, just to take advantage of incentives. But I'll admit that I've never left any of those text messages unread. I think text messages are a great way to get in touch with potential clients. But just make sure that you're getting their permission in order to do the texting so that you can follow up and hopefully convert those people into leads. I think that using all three of these methods is going to be very important. And it's not like, I don't think that one is necessarily better than the other. Text messages typically don't leave a lot of messages unread. I'll let you know right now, I don't have any unread text messages. Phones, I've probably got like 20 voicemails. I see the transcriptions, but I've got like 20 voicemails. And then for emails, I already told you in my personal inbox, I've got like 35,000. But in my business inbox, I've got 0, because I am very organized in business. It's just the personal life, and the personal inbox is where I let things start to get a little bit out of control. But anyway, let's take you through the sixth item here. Create a follow-up schedule. It takes up to 7 to 10 touches before a conversion actually happens. Conversion meaning an actual sale. So creating a follow-up schedule will ensure that you remain consistent with your communications, prevent you from getting stale, from becoming too cold. And then also, you paid so much money for these leads to come in. We need to make sure that we're preventing ourselves from being forgotten. And we don't want leads to be falling through the crack. So we need to set up a communication calendar and cadence. And here's an example here. Emails once a week, phone calls once per month, face-to-face once per quarter. I'm not here to advise you on what to say on the phone call. I had a client that she was getting leads and she called me and she was like, Michelle, what should I say? I'm like, well, that's a completely different scope. That's like asking an accountant for HR advice, because that's completely out of my scope. I don't know what you could be saying. Like you need to know what to say in order to convert these leads into customers. I don't know your business as well as you. And then number 7, track all your communications. CRMs are your best friend. If you don't have a CRM, Excel might then become your best friend for the time being. But even like HubSpot, and I think there's other ones that have like free options. I think HubSpot has like a free option, and then there's some other small ones for like smaller businesses that have options that are free. And then once you get enough contacts and you want to be doing more with it, then you'd have to pay. But a CRM is a customer relationship management platform. You put all of your customer contact information in there, and you can track how often you're communicating with them, what you said in the last conversation with them. leave notes for yourself so you know when to follow up with these people. And it's also a good way to refresh your brain too. Like, oh, I spoke with Jack. He mentioned that he took his son to a basketball game. Okay, maybe I might want to consider getting them basketball tickets for, for Christmas, or different like notes about your different conversations so that um, so you can keep track of who you're talking to. And then next, learn when to abandon lost causes. I hate to say this, but eventually, after many follow up attempts, if people just are not following up, you just might have to move them out of your pipeline. Qualifying your leads is just really important. So if you've seen that they're a really hot lead, and they keep asking lots of questions and they keep wanting to follow up, but then they just need certain approvals from certain people, but then they're staying close in contact with you, then that's a really hot lead. But you need to gauge how motivated they are to actually take the action, which is to become a client or to become a customer. Do they have the means to make the purchase? Are they the prime decision maker? Do they have a close contact with the decision maker? How many layers up is the decision maker? If you've discovered that they're not qualified at this point in time, don't waste your time anymore. But at the same time, don't toss their information. Maybe put them in a follow up with them later file, and create some more nurture sequences to follow up with them. Lead prospecting, lead follow up is not easy. It probably deserves its own course in itself, and I'm sure there are lots of courses out there on lead sales follow up, but I have just encountered this a lot throughout the years of me running Google ads for lots of clients. And the clients that do the best are the ones that have these specific systems dialed in to the T, and they really, really have their sales team on point in order to convert the leads into actual sales. So if you have any questions for me about this topic, or if you learned anything new, wanted to agree or disagree with me on anything, and let me know what your biggest takeaway is below in the comments, I'd love to hear it and chat with you there. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. I'm the founder of Level 28 Media, and I help local service-based businesses generate leads through Google Ads. So if you're looking for an audit or managed services and you're spending at least $2,000 a month, check out the link below in the description, and I'd be more than happy to have a discussion with you. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.